If I am not my product user, then I should as well not build it.
Okay.
So we're just trying to solve a user experience problem.
Okay.
Yeah, like where we try to put what's already existing into the hands of more users.
How do you describe Azza in one sentence?
The easiest or the most accessible stablecoin bank.
Hello builders, welcome to another episode of Builders Block, where I interview founders, developers, builders, and also amazing entrepreneurs in the African Web3 ecosystem. Today I have with me the greatest Azza man of all time, and that's no other person than the founder of Azza, which is Toochukwu. For the sake of those who don't know what Azza is an AI agent built on WhatsApp to help you do crypto trading. What that means is you can create a wallet, you can also deposit stable coins into the wallet from any supported chains, and basically just perform on-ramps and off-ramps, right? So without further ado, I would like Toochukwu to introduce himself.
All right, thank you. So, hey guys, my name is Toochukwu Okoro, and I'm the founder of Azza. And so basically Azza, as he has already said, it's basically a Web3 or a crypto wallet built on WhatsApp. And the aim here is to make sure that, or basically like to make the experience of on-ramps and off-ramps and payments with stablecoin as easy as possible and fast as well. So we want to like lower like that entry barrier for new users and even existing users right in the Web3 space to make sure that everything is easy as possible.
Right.
So that's what Azza is.
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks for the introduction. So let's quickly, go back in time and try to, understand your journey and how it all started. Take for instance from like secondary school days and whatever. Do you mind sharing your story also?
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, I've always been very inclined to like tech and like just basically building stuff.
Right.
So I studied mechanical engineering in university, right?
Awesome.
And basically I did that because I was very focused on like building stuff. Actually, I've always wanted to like build things, right? So I go into Web3 like sometime, in my university days.
Okay.
Right, where I basically like stumbled on products that were already existing. That was like around 2020, and then from there onwards, I just decided to like just take a nosedive and see what's in there for me.
Right.
So it's been a journey of like figuring out what exactly I wanted to build. So right from time I've always known that okay, I want to build something. Right. I want to build something that contributes to basically like making life easier, solving a problem. Yeah, just coming from like problem solving perspective. But there wasn't really much I knew about how to do that. So I guess my journey has been more of like learning on the job, right? So I had to figure things out. And so luckily for me, right, so like while I was in school, I was able to like meet my current co-founders. I was able to like meet like minds and we just figured things out.
Right.
So Azza is like, so basically like, we also like found Blockverse. So Blockverse is basically a Web3 studio, right? So we build like products. So right from like when we started off, we just started off like just experimenting stuff, building things together and trying to see like where that takes us. And along the line, we started learning about, like business part of things, right? How to make sure you're building like for the right audience. And this is, as I was like, I think it's like our third main product, right? We've built like a ticketing solution like about 2 to 3 years back. We built some RWA products. And those were like products that actually went live. We had like real users. We had some revenue along the way, but then we tried to like, obviously we failed at some things. We learned from those mistakes and we learned that, okay, like in as much as we're good at building stuff, we also need to like make sure that we're building the right things and take distribution into it. So the journey so far, in a nutshell, has just been learning. Yes.
Amazing.
And figuring things out.
Absolutely. I mean, for what you mentioned, right, how can you describe yourself in like 3 words? Say from the journey, what you've learned, and the man you've now become. How can you like describe yourself in 3 words?
Okay, I think I'm a very curious person.
Oh, awesome.
Very, very curious. And I think I would also call myself like so I'm curious, I'm passionate about what I do.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, I like to also think We're passionate and driven, yeah, like the same thing, right? Okay, so I'll find the third word.
Okay.
Well, I'll say those, majorly those two.
Two.
Yeah, and I also like anything I'm doing, I like to like just solve a problem along the way. So I'll say like
Problem
solution.
solver.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, nice. You mentioned in the past you built, products from the ticketing solution to like the RWA solution also. I just wanted to like ask, what are those, problems that you faced, or what are the lessons that you've learned while building those products that you now kind of, hold tight now when building Hazard?
Okay. So I would say the first and major like lesson that we learned while building that was basically how to how to build for like the right audience.
Okay.
So when we started building out the ticketing solution, we thought it was cool. Yeah, like from the engineering perspective, from like the whole buzz of the blockchain, we thought that, oh, this would be a really cool stuff to build. And since like it's something we like, other people should like it. That was the mentality, right? And yeah, we quickly learned that that wasn't it, because that's when like we started seeing firsthand the effects of building without PMF. Oh, right. The product was good, but like product market fit was the problem.
It's an important thing.
So
also.
yeah, then moving over from that to also like learning how to distribute properly, like thinking about the distribution before even starting like one line of code. Like designing from like a product perspective, right? That's also one thing that we actually learned. We decided to, this time around, not just build what we think it's like really cool, or maybe like from, from that one-sided perspective, we decided to like look around us, actually study our target market, or the people we want to build for, and then know how to now start building a product. So that was like the major lessons that we've learned, right? Every other thing, I think we kind of like figured it out around like engineering, product, and all of that stuff. But the major things was around user research and distribution.
Awesome. Moving to the next question, which is how you got the lead to build Azza, right? I mean, you've done RWA, you've done ticketing. So what made you think, oh, building Azza is like the next thing?
Okay, so I mean, like there's a lot of things to build, right? There's a lot of problems to solve. Absolutely. If we actually want to like start like looking in that direction. But one thing that was actually like, so I wanted to like bring down like my perspective from like thinking about a lot of like high level problems to like thinking about what I relate to on a day-to-day basis. Remember I said that we learn how to like do our user research, and I am if I am not my product user, then I should as well not build it. So there were like high level like problems, like for the ticketing solution, we're thinking about, oh, how do we make events creators, maybe earn on their secondary markets for like a lifetime or whatever. Yes, but like I wasn't necessarily like someone who creates events and stuff, and then it took us a while to even understand that market in itself. For like the RWA solution, we're looking at maybe like how we can like help businesses actually like move like most of their like real businesses on chain. And that took like a lot of like discussions, and we kind of figured out some things, but then I didn't have like some landed properties I was going to go put on chain myself. So now we thought about like, let's just look at what we've been doing so far. We've built for like a number of founders. We actually built like on and off-ramp rails in the past. And then I thought about it, like the solutions are very amazing. The products that we've built, or rather the infrastructure out there for like stablecoin payments and everything, they are very, very amazing. But like, what's the problem? Why aren't we using them? Like, why don't we just like, why are these things not being utilized as they should?
Mainstream.
Yes. So that's what I started thinking about. Like, what would make me spend my USDC easier and help me like hedge against every form of inflation in Africa, not bother about maybe like FX, and just basically like spend directly, right? If I earn in USDC or USDT. So now that's how I decided to think about it. Maybe not all the way up there. Let me just like relate to what I feel like everyone in my niche relates to. So that's how we decided to now start thinking in that direction. Yeah. So to just like sum that up. Yeah, we weren't trying to like do something different from what's already out there, like in terms of like protocols and technology. So we're just trying to solve a user experience problem.
Okay.
Yeah, like where we try to put what's already existing into the hands of more users.
More users.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned something about, building what you can actually use,
Yeah.
because from first hand, you basically, know about it and also can profile, oh, this is how it should be. And you are the first user also, right?
Yeah.
And this brings me to the next question, which is, over the past, years, we're still going to talk about Azza, right?
Yeah.
Why not build like a separate app, right? I mean, we're still talking about, how it all formed, right?
Yeah.
The need to build something that people can use easily and basically just solve problem. Now, so in the thinking process, I'm also trying to think also,
Yeah.
like, why not build a separate app, right?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, building apps is cool,
Okay.
right? Like, it's not like I'm against it.
Yeah.
I mean, we build apps. So the thing is, we're just looking at like, okay, starting from like the markets we want to start off with. How do people like consume products? How do people like get used to things, right? So for us, it was more like trying to like understand. There's already like a lot of apps out there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are trying to like solve the same problem and like taking like different angles. And if you get on Play Store, you're going to see like a lot of apps trying to do the same thing. But then even looking at myself, I mean, even talking to not just other users but also myself, I noticed that okay, I get on some apps and I noticed that at the onboarding stage, I'm already like maybe losing interest, and maybe if there are like many steps to onboarding, that's where like I find myself even part of like the drop-offs that they would have on their own end.
Okay.
And not just that, also looking at like the complexity with crypto apps. With financial apps, it's a bit easier. When it comes to crypto apps, it gets worse along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now there's a lot of like complexity that you have to deal with, especially like at the onboarding stage. So we thought about it, and then we're like, I mean, we can potentially build another app. I mean, for me personally, we want to do that along the way. But then at the initial stage, right, we had to like look for something else that works.
Okay.
Exactly. And that's how we started thinking about, okay, like let's look at non-app solutions.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's how we thought about it.
Okay, I think the way I like to see it is basically meeting users where they are.
Exactly.
Right, without having to like download any separate app, and you just basically do stuff on like a already familiar application that you have, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much, a total lift off for like users. Pretty amazing functionality, right? So how do you describe Azza in one like sentence?
This is going to be interesting because like I can describe it in many sentences.
Okay.
But like I think the one that actually like resonates very well with me, I would say it's like the easiest or the most accessible stablecoin bank.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, I didn't put WhatsApp in the mix, and I know why I didn't do that.
Okay.
Because like WhatsApp is helping us provide that accessibility
Yeah.
and that distribution rail. But like the North Star was to build something that is easy and accessible.
Yeah.
So if I have my stablecoin bank and my bank assistant on WhatsApp, then yeah, that's it. So that's the way I would describe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
A stablecoin bank.
Yeah, a stablecoin bank, like where I can easily spend stablecoins on and off ramps, whatever it is. We're trying to like bring more utility to stablecoins, whether local or foreign stablecoins. Yes.
Amazing. So we already talked about like the one of like the value propositions, which is not having to download, an app, and you just use it on an existing app that you're familiar with, right? Now let's talk about the good parts.
Okay.
Right? We've talked about like the products, the tech. Right now, let's talk about the good part. What are like the major, year moments, building Azza?
Oh, okay. There's been a couple of them. So
awesome.
a little backstory.
This year,
We started building Azza sometime I think middle of last year. So that's where like the idea clicked, right? We're like, okay, let's try this from this angle. So I can remember very, very vividly the day I told the rest of my team, this is what I'm thinking about. I was like, this guy's not serious. And then Later down the line, we started looking at existing stuff out there that like already not necessarily doing what we're doing, but like they've tried to like explore the WhatsApp rail.
Okay.
So it was like, okay, now this is actually possible. So the first time we tried to put something on WhatsApp, it was difficult, and it was like I wouldn't say a disaster because we had something working, but then it was almost not usable.
Okay.
So
how do you mean though?
I mean, we managed to put something on WhatsApp.
On WhatsApp.
Yeah,
okay.
it was there, it was responsive, but then there was like a lot that we didn't know,
Okay.
right? And
Like a lot of disconnects, right?
exactly.
Okay.
So we had to like take a moment and like step back and like okay, look at it from like other perspectives, right? Where we now realize that there's actually like ways where we can tailor the UX to make sense to users, because like I mean the way we had it initially, I would not use it. So then I mean like when we figured it out, when like we had like engineering product come together, do some flows, do some UX reviews and everything, and we realized that okay, what we're looking at in terms of like a user perspective, a product perspective, and what we can actually build out in code actually makes sense. Like we can relate it. Then that was like okay, now we're like onto something. Yeah, that was like the first time we were happy, like okay, we're somewhere.
Yeah.
And then secondly, when we participated in like the Biz Builder Hackathon sometime last year, that was so for us it was like we're building this, but let's just use the opportunity and let's do this. And I mean we won. We're like, oh okay, cool.
Yeah,
right. And another time was when we did like when we started like beta testing. When we started like our first beta testing, like we created a group. I wasn't even sure we were going to get up to like 20% to like join, and next thing we're like more than 60 people like day one, and just told me that okay, people actually like the idea. I mean, it sounded good to people, and they were very, very keen on helping us test and figure things out. So that was like another like great moments for us. And when we finally like went live with on and off ramps, I can remember vividly like that day I couldn't sit
contain
down.
your joy.
Yeah, I went outside to go and test it. Like
Okay.
I went outside to go and use it and see how I feel using it basically.
In real life, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think those are like the key moments for me personally, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, like we have quite a number of like key moments, but one that I want to also talk about and also like ask question about is the transaction volume. How that you guys did 100K in like 4 months, and in like 21 days you guys doubled the volume. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing, right? So what actually changed? Or what did you guys do differently to like accelerate that, the work of 4 months compounded in like 21 days?
21 days. That was. I think this is like the fourth time I've been asked this question.
Okay.
This week. So it was very. Also, so for us, we've just been like doing what we've been doing, right? So. One key thing that we've been doing all this while is keeping our community very close. Okay. And also making sure that we are like first-hand ready to like resolve any issues. So, and then just constantly trying to ship features that our users ask for. Yeah. So, but like when we announced 100K, a lot of people felt, oh, it wasn't like possible, like I would like reach like this volume. So I think it also piqued people's interest. Okay. So one thing that happened is people who are already like our users, like, so we study like our users, we talk to them every time. So people would start off with like $5-10. Okay, let me see if they're going to steal my money, or let me see if they are going to
just the black mentality.
If there's going to be something that goes wrong, and then I guess it goes well the first time, goes well the second time, we just try to we take feedback like very critical, and then we try to like fix issues on time. So we kind of like noticed that people started getting more confident. So now the volume started to increase. Like the number of our users didn't necessarily double with the transaction volume. No, our existing users just got more confident. There was more trust. And then you see people that, okay, maybe in a
put
week.
more money.
Exactly. Maybe in a week they'll do like $500, and then you find them in a week they're doing like $2,000.
Yeah, right.
So that's like a lot of people just, and then even without like having like maybe any incentive for referrals or anything, people just started referring their friends, family, and everything. And I think that's what happened. So it was kind of from the 100K announcements, people picked interest, and then people got more confident.
Yeah, I think I like the confidence part where we can now trust this platform to do what we have all been clamoring for. Because while off ramping using some exchanges, right, some people like get into the pit hole of scammers and whatnot, and I think that was also like the will I say trauma. When you're using like exchanges where you have been scammed and whatnot, and people are like, oh, you know what, let me just test the waters, and once the trust has been solidified, you know what, take all my money, right? So pretty much cool. My next question revolves around the technicality, right? You mentioned that you guys practically just had to build something on WhatsApp, right? Although it wasn't working, but afterwards, you guys found a way to like, solve that as the builders that you guys are. My question is, how did you guys kind of like revolve around the technical issues, especially building on WhatsApp?
Okay, so I mean, aside just so just to maybe like just give you like a bit of context into the way it's built, right? So you can see Azza as like a full app out there. Like the components are kind of like still the same. Yeah, you have the only thing is that we just decided to use WhatsApp as the UI. So, but believe it or not, that's where majority of like the work came into play. But we had to figure out how to, do like a UI. So one thing that we did that actually helped us was like we had like very, very frequent sprints.
Okay.
And we also had to look at already existing applications or people that are trying to like do stuff on WhatsApp. Some of them were non-financial.
Okay.
So yeah, we had to like, find out way to tailor
to the specific.
Yeah. So for us, it was mainly because I mean, it would be easy to go through like the meta documentation or like every other thing around that to just know how to like build the stuff we could. But then I think where the major work was actually crafting that UX, right? Because now we're dealing with like a multi-chain stablecoin. There's still like the fiat angle to it. There's the payment angle. There's all those things. So now having to like craft the UX, because I mean we kept like it was like a very iterative process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we kept like changing it up. So I think that's what and I mean being like at the studio here, we always had to sit down and make sure that we give ourselves like hours to research and build. So I think that's what the process has been like actually.
Yeah, amazing. You mentioned something around studio right now where the team actually just collaborate and build stuff. How do you think that has helped? When it comes to shipping fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it has helped a lot. And it has also helped greatly in solving problems, like I'll say fixing bugs.
Okay. Yeah.
So for like how it's helped us to like actually like ship very quick. It's giving us like that space to kind of like remove a lot of distractions, because you realize that I mean some of us like not all the team is here at the moment, right? Like a couple of persons are usually remote, but then we also realize that like the problem with remote is there's a lot of everyone has to like operate on a certain time, and then sometimes feedback can be a problem.
Yeah.
So the idea of like working together was just to make sure that we eliminate as much issues as possible. It doesn't mean that we don't still have that, like working together here. But one thing we do have is like, we have like times to like sit and sprint together. Those times are like very golden for us, because whatever we're doing at that moment, we're getting instant feedback from one another.
Right.
And we're almost implementing the next second. So if we're trying to like validate an idea, like, okay, this is what it should be like, if we put it on the board or we talk about it or we like just do some checks and it looks good, then implementation starts like right there and then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, nice. I mean, it speaks to the fact that Azza ships really fast, listens to user feedbacks and just, implements as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, that's what every Fortune 500 company would do, right? And so moving to the next question, what's like the long-term vision? Where do you see Azza in the next 3 years? So I'm thinking, are we going to see a scenario, because you mentioned in one word that Azza is the stablecoin bank, are we going to see a scenario where Azza will become, would start issuing cards for people to pay for stuff online? I mean, I'm just saying using stable coins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting question. If I'm going to be like very honest with you, it's things that we're still figuring out. So one thing that we are very sure of at the moment is the fact that there's going to be more products that will come out of Azza, right? As a whole, there's going to be like an expansion, but then we've not premeditated it.
Okay.
One thing we want to do is I want to make sure that we're building exactly what people need and what they ask for. So, I mean, like fintechs, a card feature could be the most accessible. It can be like a low-hanging fruit. Yes, we might do that. Yes, we might not. But then it just depends on like what we want to do. So as I said, like the North Star for us is easy UX. Right. We want to make sure that there's like very easy ways for people to like use stablecoins. That's what it is for us. So we're looking at where the future will take us, actually.
Okay. All right. Moving to the next question, which is, the fact that Azza is, a stablecoin bank, right? Yeah. So I want to now like base my question on stablecoin, right? So recently, right, stablecoin transaction recently hits $1.82 trillion. This is like a report from AI Systems. So do you think it's day one or one day?
I think it's day one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's day one. I think we're just starting. Yeah, and definitely I also personally feel like we're building this at the right time. Like I can see like a lot of like product market fit for this, for the solution in general.
Right. Yes. Right. So moving forward, also, stablecoin are getting a lot of attraction, whether from institutions and also from like consumers, right? Where do you think stablecoin is on the Gartner's hype cycle? Gartner's hype cycle is basically like a chart where a technology sits in different like cadre, right? So we have the innovation trigger, we have the peak of inflated expectation, we have trough of dilutionment, we have slope of enlightenment, and plateau of productivity, right? So where do you think, as of 2022, this chart says that stablecoin is currently in the trough of dilutionment, right? So where do you think stablecoin is right now? I mean, it's 3 years apart.
So I think it's between like the enlightenment and productivity part, yeah. And I mean, like for stablecoins in general, what I think and I think what we think at Blocverse, right, is it's majorly, it comes to solve like a problem, right? It's basically giving a lot of other like underbanked people, regions access.
Right.
And like it's not necessarily like in itself, it's not necessarily different from like fiat currencies, but then it's just there to like create like a borderless way of transacting. So in other words, I think it's here to stay, right? Majorly they are like B2B, stablecoins are B2B, right? Or maybe like B2G or something like that. But then if we like innovators, right, if we're able to like build systems that effectively utilize them for better financing, right, for creating like better economic value in across different regions, right, then I see like them sticking around for like a very long time.
Amazing.
Yes.
I mean, that would mean that in a few years, it's going to, enter into like the plateau of productivity. That's like the peak, because we are seeing a lot of institutions, a lot of like even retail people get to like use stablecoin, right? Now let's dive a little bit outside of like work and Azza, right? Let's talk about this popular saying, ideas are cheap, execution is everything.
Yeah.
What's your take on this?
100%.
Ideas are cheap, right?
Execution is everything. Because, like, I mean, if you look at all of us in the Web3 space, especially like Africa, so someone would say, right, not me, someone would say that we are effectively just like copying ourselves. And that's the truth. And I don't think it's a bad thing because, like, a lot of people like are trying different ways to, and different ways to like solve a particular problem. And that's the way problems actually get solved. So I even like our here at Blocverse, like we don't necessarily like hold on to ideas, right, or wherever it is. We just want to make sure that we try our hands at executing. Yes, whether it works out or not. So
execution is everything.
It is for real.
Right. I mean, don't you think that ideas are part of execution?
Yeah. So it maybe depends on the way ideas have been like interpreted to me at some point, because like I personally don't like when people talk a lot about
just do
about like, you know, there's this and there's that, like it doesn't make any sense. It's not tangible, right? So like if there's nothing to back that up, so I feel like I can effectively like take someone's idea. Like ideas are like everywhere. People are so creative in their minds, so I don't think it's part of the process, if I'm being honest.
I mean, because you have to basically think about something.
Exactly.
And it's part of like you doing like the brain work also. You're executing the first stage, right? And I mean, not all ideas will be executed at the end of the day, but you know, for some reasons. That's just by design anyway. So personally, what's one thing that you want to do that you haven't done, but you're going to do in the future? One thing you have been, you know, craving to do, maybe to fly a plane or to, something like that.
That's very, well, there's a lot of them. I don't know
if
you want to do.
Give us three. Give us three.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I actually studied like engineering in school. Right, and I do have like a passion for like building hardware.
Okay.
So I haven't like gotten like the opportunity to like dabble into that, but I'd love to like go into like something around battery technology in the near future. Right, actually to EVs, because I think like they're a gold mine already. I mean, we see what EVs are doing in China and the rest.
China,
So yeah, it's something I'm passionate about. I just want to like get into that as well. I think I also like the idea of I mean, like flying a plane is you already said just it's there, but I think I also like to maybe try out my hands on like professional racing.
Okay.
Formula One.
F1.
Or anything around that, or like rally racing or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's really like amazing. One of the things I also like want to do later on in the future is basically to just fly a plane, right? Because I mean, while I was in secondary school, for some reasons they took us to like the airport and you know, just demo whatever. And it has been like in my head. I'm like, I'm going to do this one day. So moving back to some of the questions that I have, right? How do you spot trends early? You know, because you guys are building like a stablecoin bank, and it looks like this is like the perfect time to build this. And you guys are just doing the perfect job of, you know, helping people to on-ramp and off-ramp, basically, right? How did you spot, or how do you work on spotting trends early and just doubling down?
Okay, so personally, right, and I think like the way I do it personally also like largely influences my team. So I like to, sometimes they complain about my ideas, but that's still for another day. So I like to do research like constantly, and another thing I like to do is like when I travel, I try to like interact with people that are not in my environment. So I like to like think about things from like different perspectives.
Right.
So in as much as we have like a particular trend and like issues that like bother us here in Africa, in different regions there are like different things that actually matter to them, and there's like ways that they are going about solving that problem. So for me, whenever I look at those things, it might not be like an exact copy paste of the solution. It might just be like, okay, if people could think about things in this way, like if this is like a pattern of innovation, how about you just like apply that same pattern to existing problems you see in your surrounding?
Right.
So I like to personally research. although like I cut down my time on social media, I just make sure that whenever I'm there, I spend my time looking for, things that are very abstract and things that I feel like people are already doing so well in. Yeah, and I feel like that also applies to like a lot of like most of people on my team, because like today I come up with like an idea, right, and then like tomorrow it's someone else, telling me, okay, I found this.
Just
Yes, and that's just the way it is. We're always on the lookout for something.
right, right. So, what do you think about wealth creation? From like background, or from like a positive sum perspective,
So the will creation is a process. If it's the way I think about it, I feel like it's a process. Having money is different from creating wealth. And I think wealth is created from problem solving.
Oh yeah.
So that's why it's like one of the major like driving forces of what I want to do. So I know that it compounds, right? And there's always like steps to get to. It's a part where it goes from maybe like having money to like wealth. And I also think that wealth is a very like it's a function of information, or the other way around. So anyone who has like information is able to create wealth. So that's the way I think about it. So information and providing a solution.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten quite a number of insights as regards you have to provide value.
Yeah.
Right. That's the same thing Azza does, right? Providing value to people who actually needs it, at the time. My next question is going back to Azza now, which is, what should we be expecting in the coming days, in the coming weeks? Yeah.
Okay, so we're constantly shipping. So for the next few weeks, we're looking at improving what we already have, right? We want to so people have given us like good feedback on like our UX. Some people have given us bad feedback, but hope by God's grace, the good ones outweigh the bad ones, right? And we're looking at even making it better, right? And then another thing we're very, very we're just looking at is how to actually like expand our our coverage areas in terms of like other fiats that we're able to like, other fiat currencies that we're able to like, or regions we're able to service. And we're not doing this because we just want to expand, because like we've had people ask for this.
Okay.
Yes, and like they've told us, okay, guys, we actually want this. I actually want this, and if you can, we'll be grateful. So, as I said, we are very, very big on like feedback, and that's why it's kind of like priority for us right now.
Right.
So that's like some major regions in Africa. So by God's grace, we're going to be seeing like more currency options.
Okay.
Yeah, and hopefully in the nearest future, there's going to be like maybe availability of more stablecoins.
Okay.
So
on different chains, right?
Yeah, different chains. Yeah, obviously different chains.
My second to the last question would be that, what's your founder playbook?
Okay. I like to see myself as an active team player. Right. And so I and my co-founders and like my entire team, there is no way to be like effective in a team if you're not like actively involved and like actually like leading the way. So that's one thing. And then second is I feel like as a founder or like founders, so at the initial time I'm always very
careful
about maybe like taking on that
role.
Yeah, because I feel like it's actually like a lot of responsibility, and a lot of people do not like live up to that responsibility. So regardless, as someone who builds stuff, who provides solutions, I'm just focused on making sure that I'm able to like see things through,
right?
No matter the obstacle, because like if I didn't have the mindset to like see things through, like then why am I doing it in the first place?
Right.
So for me, it's like just that stubbornness, and then also like being like an active team player, like being right there, like in the trenches, like doing the work. So
I think I like that.
Yeah,
in the trenches. and also like playing the long-term game.
Exactly.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. I just want to know, right? Okay, let's hear what do you have for people who are looking to like build products, who are currently still skeptical, right, about what to do. And what's like one thing you tell somebody looking to also build a product who might also be watching this video?
Hmm. Okay. I mean, just build. Right. I think like obviously like if it's a first time building product, right? Like this, it's obviously not going to be perfect. Some people are lucky on day one, but then if you don't take like that initial step, I don't think anything will get done. So that's just the way I like to see things. Like no matter like how big the obstacles are, I just want to pick off that current thing in my front and not like look at how big. Because when you want to like I mean from my experience, starting to build stuff like once you look at the problem, it only gets bigger. It just keeps amplifying itself. But like if you're able to start at least like first initial step, it will be very difficult to do anything. So I feel like just get out there, just try something. It might work, it might not work, but then if you do it again, there's something.
Every chance that it's going to.
Yeah, there's a chance, exactly.
All right. Thank you very much, Toochukwu. And so we have come to the end of this episode. I hope that you've been able to learn from the Us Ismail himself, how he has been able to like build Azza, and also some of his experience, his the challenges, and also the things to expect from Azza in the nearest future. I'm pretty much excited because I use Azza, right? I got onboarded because I saw it on Twitter, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? So I used Azza, and within 5 minutes, within like that space of 5 minutes, I got my money credited into my bank account. I'm like, nice. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe, like, and also share this video to as many persons in your community on your network. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.